evening, everyone. Welcome to the Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom, and tonight we've gathered to sit down and have a little talk about a guy who does a lot of, well, interesting community service. Matter of fact, if I remember right, there was one character in Transformers who liked to refer to himself as a freelance peacekeeping agent, and that is the Punisher. Kind of a whole new take on it with, of course, John Bernthal taking the lead role. And as you know, we've had a couple of movies before. We had Flungren, and then we had Thomas Jane. Then you had Punisher Warzone, and I can't remember the name of the guy who was in that one to save my life. But this one, I think, tells the story rather well. Now, when I go to call your name, go ahead and give me your opening thoughts on Series 1 of the. Let's start with Texas Tim, since he just popped
in. I thought it was good. I think a good revenge story is always welcome. It's a bit different from your previous Marvel Netflix series. It's a lot more violent. It has some pretty interesting things to say about war, corruption in war, corruption of government, PTSD. But overall, it's a pretty good drama. If I had anything to say about it negatively, I would think that it could have been tightened up a little bit. Because I would say this would have been better in maybe 10 episodes or 11, not so much 13. I think the thing with them is that they pick their plan. They go with it, and it sometimes you just need to adjust a little bit. And I think I'm not saying it was flabby or boring in any way. It just could have, I think, been a lot tighter in a lot of ways. But overall, it was a good series.
All righty. Okay, let's move up to Kevin. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, I'm back after, a while. So I saw the series, and it's brutal and violent. I'm going to keep this PG-13. I loved the Betrayal, the Punisher, and of course the future Jigsaw. And Karen was in it. So yeah, I really loved the series. Only it could be maybe 10 episodes instead of 13.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about that, definitely, because I think there's at least one episode too many. Okay, let's hop on over to Neo.
Oh, great, thanks. I was looking for the button. Basically, I liked it. I expected it to be violent because, come on, it's the Punisher. Violent, blood, gore, mayhem, and the more to the episode, the season, the darker it got. And then I just felt bad for a certain character. I think his name was Lewis Wilson. I felt bad because it showed how hard it can be to go through that PTSD. And it's like nobody wanted to help him. I felt bad for him, which was weird because when I watch these, I don't really feel that. I mean, it made me shift in my seat a little bit in certain scenes, especially the scene with what's her name, Madani. Oh, partner, I felt bad for her, and I didn't like that girl. Karen, she was in it, but I like how she wasn't in it. Like being herself Daredevil. But I have a question about that because I wanted to know. I know you were saying something about that, William, how it's in between Defenders or something like that. But I was thinking if whatever happened in Defenders happened, wouldn't it kind of, be there? Because he's supposedly gone right now. Wouldn't she miss him? Or that didn't happen yet? I don't know. Either way, I liked it.
I get to that question in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's hop over to Graham.
For me, I enjoyed the hell out of this. I can understand if people might not enjoy it. It's not exactly your typical run-of-the-mill, look at me, I have a superpower, come with me, let's drink some whiskey type Marvel type show on Netflix. But it's got a lot of dialogue when it comes to certain aspects of everyday life these days. The timidity, the PTSD, you've got the gun control issue, you've got the after effects of war. Those type of topics might not be for everybody, but they are prominent in today's society, whether we like it or not, regardless of your point of view on the issue. John Bernthal, picking up where he left off for Daredevil Season 2, He's really fleshed out and developed this character. Is it depressing? Hell yeah, it's a depressing show. He's on a revenge mission. It might not be for everybody, but I enjoyed it, and it'll be interesting to see where they take season 2 of this thing. I'm assuming it's been picked up. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, so bring it on.
Okay. Go ahead, AJ.
Yep, hi there. I watched this show. Most of the Netflix shows for Marvel and all that, I would speed watch with my wife and all that. I watched this by myself. I didn't speed watch it. It was a very slow burning, sort of almost hard to get into sort of series. I understand the reason why it was very slow burning, because there was a lot of intrigue and a lot of backstory for a lot of the characters, which I liked. It was good, but again, it was really hard to get into. Maybe a few episodes shorter would be nice. Everyone just did an amazing job in this. John Bernthal being the Punisher, even though technically he wasn't really called the Punisher, he was more Frank or Pete. Jigsaw at the end, I like that. That was a good reveal for the ending, although they didn't call him Jigsaw yet, which was good. And just overall how basically he gets his life back, and it looks like by the next series he might end up screwing it up and losing it again. We'll see what happens with that, though.
Oh, me?
Yep.
Oh, hey now, everybody. And we can start off by saying it was a great series for Netflix. Like we all said, this had to be on Netflix. Couldn't be a movie. Yeah, everybody was saying it is better if it was 10 episodes instead of 13. What makes this unique is that like everybody was saying, we deal with a lot of different situations in different characters, especially Frank Castle and the other soldier, who was suffering from PTSD in their own way. Then you also got Jigsaw, who he uses his experience in the military to make himself money by creating a company for bodyguards or maybe illegal uses that we see later on. But of course, there was a certain politician who was involved in the Black Ops, and he was, instead of just doing what he's supposed to do in arrest terrorists and anything like that, he was just using it to make money from the illegal drugs that he was making and all that. So all this story was building up very in the stretch of the whole season. Now, like I already said earlier, and everybody was saying, it should have been down to 10 episodes. The violence, I'm not worried about it because we've seen, on Netflix, they've shown some of their own original movies that had a lot of more gore and blood on it. So this, what they showed here in The Punisher was nothing. I think the only one scene that might have shocked me a little bit was when he gouged out the eyes of that politician that started the whole
Wilson,
thing.
yeah.
But it was just deserved, in my opinion. Karen Page appearing, it was great to see her there, and she wasn't there in every episode. She only was there maybe like 3 to 5 episodes, 5 the max out of it. So, and then her character was helping the Punisher in certain ways, and then discovering things that he didn't figure out like that. Michael, he was great to see him build up a friendship with Frank Castle like that. Was pretty good. Of course, he was upset how his wife, who thought he was dead, was already started to have attractiveness to Frank Castle, even though he was calling himself Pete. But that was, in a way, that was her way trying to start her new life, because it's been over a year since her husband was supposedly dead. So you can't really blame her on that like that, for this situation. Whether there will be a season 2, that's up to Netflix and of course Disney, that nonsense, because that's business as usual like that. But I could see a season 2. Hopefully they do. If they knock it down to 10 episodes maybe, because it can easily be done, because the Punisher has a lot of enemies besides Jigsaw, and of course even though the main part of this season and his appearance in the Daredevil was to deal with the people who killed his family like that, there's still other things that he's gonna get involved with, which happens in the comics like that. So it will fit in good, especially for him to come back. Now, for the actress who was in the government agency that was sleeping with Bill, her character was good like that, but the scenes where her with him intimate didn't have to be shown. It could have been quick. Could have been done quick. When her partner was killed, that was real shocking for her, and that was like her way in a different situation that she experienced PTSD because she saw somebody actually who was a friend of hers get killed in the line of duty. Now, the young kid who was dealing with PTSD in his own way, that was sad in a way because as we see and I myself experienced, after we done our duty, we not really cared about or nobody really checks on how we are doing or anything like that. I mean, the only thing that was inform us is go to the to the Veterans Administration or that for them could deal with us. But thanks to the recent news like that, we find out that they're not really doing a good job over there. So a lot of us got to deal with PTSD as one day at a time and be calm and cool about it. In a way, I'm lucky that I'm not living in the house like he is, but I'm not gonna dig a hole in the backyard and spend time in there like that. So lucky I keep busy in doing certain things like that. Hopefully in the future when they do other besides their the Punisher, maybe in time they could have him team up with somebody because since we only seen the Defenders like that, there's a lot of other character that's very violent, like, but I'm not saying like bloody violent like the Punisher that he could team up with. It could be Moon Knight, it could be Blade. There's a lot of character that stands out real good that could be shown on Netflix that cannot be shown on the upcoming Disney online service because they will not do any program that's higher than PG-13. So that hopefully in time that Netflix can, with the blessing of Disney, can do more series and then of course introduce more of these characters that need to be in the more rated R program.
Yeah, I wish everybody would get off this damn PG-13 kick. It's like, sheesh. Am I echoing?
Nope.
That is weird.
You're buzzing.
Buzzing?
Okay, maybe that's weird. All right. So yeah, it's it brought up a lot of big issues, this particular program. Especially dealing with PTSD, how we treat veterans and things along that line. It's a very powerful issue in the country. It has been for decades. And I'm kind of glad the way they addressed it, and also the fact that what I love about these new series is back in the day when you were growing up, you had your basic villain, some guy who for some reason got up out of bed that morning and decided, okay, I'm going to go take over this small country or do something. But with these new series, they show you, okay, these people actually in their mind believe they're doing something, that benefits them or they think is benefiting the country. Or in this case, you got a guy who thinks I'm going to make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, he turned out to be a real butthole because didn't he come for money in the first place, the guy who was running the op?
Yeah.
So he was just a plain outright a-hole. It's not like he really needed the money. He just got a thrill off doing this kind of sadistic crap. So, a lot of great issues brought up. Okay, so yeah, one of the things we did bring up, and I have to agree, I think they should have cut it off at episode 12. And the reason being is because the scenes towards the end where you see Castle and he's kind of in his happy place while he's getting tortured, but at the same time they're kind of using it as a metaphor for he's being offered a chance for peace. His wife's there saying come with me, come home, basically the pearly gates are this way, come relax, come be at peace, and he can't do it. And it seems like that happens several times. Matter of fact, there's a scene where with Karen Page in the elevator, talk about, I want her head examined, because really, talk about your ultimate fix-it boyfriend, the Punisher. It's like, imagine how that relationship's going to work out. It's like, Frank, how many times have I told you don't keep the C4 in the sock drawer? But she's there, but he can't do it. It's not his path. It's not his way. He cannot find that peace. And, even though we're left with a chance, now he's going to meetings and all that, he's kind of sort of, showing a sign of possibly being on the road to recovery. But at the same time, we know, no, that's not his path. That's not the path, he wants to be on. Okay, AJ got your hand up. Steal this thing from me. I'm rambling like shit.
Sorry, just when you mentioned that scene where he kept seeing his wife and being in his happy place, it reminded me of The Crow, the first movie, where towards the end of the movie he was seeing his fiance, and he was right on the verge of death.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh
at least
yeah,
anyway.
Okay, Tim, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe, like you were saying that this show, out of all of the Marvel shows so far, addresses a lot of real world problems and real issues, and it does it in a good way, because it's not trying to throw blame at any political party or anything. It just does it. It's just shedding light on them. These kind of problems that are real world problems. I wonder if maybe that's why people were less likely to latch onto this series, because most people want to watch a superhero show as escapism from the real world problems. And I'm wondering maybe that kind of put a damper on it for some people, that, maybe that's why they didn't click with it as well as they did with maybe, say, Jessica Jones or Luke Cage or something.
Okay, William, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, like for me, I didn't unlike some of the other networks show that I maybe watch like 2 or 3 a day like that. I didn't really want to binge watch this one because I knew it was building up and there was a lot of talk. You could tell, especially in the beginning when you had the federal investigators and all that, the way they were talking, especially when they found out they were being bugged in their office and all that. So that was a lot of build up. Excuse me, that was being done. That didn't bother me at all. Only thing, it should have been cut down to 10 episodes. This is my opinion like that. Now to answer Lady Neil's question from earlier, the way I read it online is that this series of the Punisher, it starts right when the Defender's already in the middle like that. So when the scene in the Punisher, when some of the buildings are getting exploded, that's why somebody says we're getting another hit, another building attack. So that, and they were referring to, of course, from the defenders of that building being knocked down like that when the final episode. So that's like you could tell in between it, but you could tell, especially when you see Karen's office, you see a lot of headlines on the wall and the dates like that. And of course, during this run of the Punisher, a lot of time is passing by because from you could tell how much time is going on. So it's not like a week long, it's a month long. It's a lot of time.
Okay, Neo, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, regarding the episode, it was the extra episode. To me, I thought it would be good at 12 because 12, I was like, oh, good, I'm done. But then I looked at the little, thing on Netflix. He says, oh, I said, oh, there's one more. Oh, okay. And then when I finally looked at it, I said, well, couldn't they have squeezed it into the 12 somehow, maybe? And that's the thing I didn't like. Also, I know they're supposed to be there. I know the flashbacks are supposed to be there. They're supposed to help progress, help to show what was going on. But I kid you not, too many flashbacks. Netflix, do me a favor. Whoever produced this, favor. Now that we know what's going on with Punisher, we know his history and all that stuff, cut down on the flashbacks, please.
Well, you gotta remember,
this is Punisher, not Arrow.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
you gotta remember that because of the beginning storyline, a lot of it starts at Kandahar.
Yes.
Especially that agent friend that was killed like that. Because I thought it was Bill that shot him in the head. I didn't know it was Frank Castle that did it. Until he admitted later on.
Yeah, you know what? To be fair, that stunned even me. I thought it was Russo as well. I'm going, what?
Yeah,
it was him.
Oh. So in a way, we gotta be watch that again. And of course, showing Kandahar, we noticed that's what this guy that got his eyes hurt was getting the drugs from, the opium from, to sell it all over the place. And then Bill helped them by stuffing it in the bodies of the soldiers that was killed in that fight. So that's how come you saw a lot of flashbacks of that, because
I know
certain things was being shown.
Certain things were being shown.
Yeah.
But
so that was.
Oh, go ahead.
No, but that's how you explain it. I know you were saying like showing that flashback over and over and over again was a little bit overdone.
It was overwhelming because there was one, I don't know what episode it was, but it was one episode where it kept showing more flashbacks. I was like, I don't know if I'm doing the flashbacks or if I'm looking at the present.
But you gotta remember, you still gotta remember that Frank Castle and the other, that friend of his that has a prosthetic leg. They're going through that fight almost in their head almost every day because he lost his leg in that fight, and then of course Frank Castle lost a lot of his soldiers in that fight that was for nothing. That was a fight that was for nothing. It was a setup. So that's what the whole thing. You could say this season and his appearance in the Daredevil was caused by the Kandahar fight. So that's why, in a way, I know it was overdone over and over again, but that's what it was. It was trying to drill in our head that this thing started a whole bunch of shenanigans. That's the thing.
So when he was in Daredevil,
remember his family was already killed.
Oh,
They were already dead. And then he thought it was a mob hit like that. I mean, he didn't realize to this season that some of the boss from the Kandahar hired that mob people to take him out because he was a witness of that guy getting shot. So it builds up. Like it was building up to all that. And then of course we didn't know either that Bill knew about the hit, and that was a shocking thing for him to find out, especially when we all saw how we knew what was going to happen, that Bill betrayed Frank Castle when he almost shot him in the head like that. So that was a big build up there.
Okay, Texas Tim, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, that to Neo's point there, that's another reason why it seemed like it did not necessarily drag, why it could have been tighter. Like maybe you're right, drop a couple episodes, have a few less flashback, it might have been more effective. I was just gonna say, what's the lead actor's name again?
Oh, John Bernthal plays the Punisher.
He's very good in this. Very good. I've never seen him in anything else, but I'm just saying it's like, wow.
Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I think it was I think it was episode 3 when he's like the one-man army that just goes in there and shoots and stabs and he's screaming and shouting the whole time. That was amazing. And he does it again later when he's alone in their little bat cave and all those guys are coming in and he's just taking them out one by one. Very, very good stuff. I mean, there should have been more of that, I think, and a little bit less talking sometimes. But it was very well done. I mean, he's very good at just being so aggressively loud and screamy when he's doing it. That was cool.
Luckily, that scene with Frank Castle and his ex-soldier buddy fighting in the woods with those people, the high guns like that, and then of course that dude had his own booby traps with those spike woods and all that because he lives there. So that was, you could see how he was dealing with his PTSD, but he wanted to be left alone.
I cracked
he
out
wanted
when
to be alone.
He pulled out the drone. When he pulled out the drone, he's like, all right. I was cracking up. I was like, yeah, you go, man.
Yeah, Lucky Michael came out with that the drone. That was good.
Okay, Graham, you had your hand up for a while. Go ahead.
Just to pick Neil up on their point, obviously, yeah, I concur with the group basically, man. This probably could have been doing at least an episode short. I mean, did we really need so many bonking scenes in the shower? Or a quick fumble in the bathroom. I probably no. But with regards to flashbacks, we had episode 10 where you had it for the 3 different points of view in the hotel when Karen's interviewing the senator. What was it you called that, Tim? What was that thing? An homage to?
Rashomon. It's the 1950s Akira Kurosawa film where that's basically that setup where you have 3 different versions of events told by 3 different characters. And it's up to the audience to figure out what exactly happened. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. That was an interesting take for me.
I just thought it was interesting, when Russo and Madani are in the shower, doing the happy dance, yet neither one of them's hair is even wet.
Well, there you go. That's another thing, cut. Yeah.
It's like, aren't you doing something wrong? In that case. Okay, AJ, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, first off about what Graham said about that episode 10. I like that too. It reminded me of that movie Vantage Point. If anyone's seen that, I like
yeah. I remember that one too. That was a good one.
Also, I love the dynamic between Micro and Frank because. At first, they're both at odds with each other. They completely don't trust each other. They hate each other. And then they come together again, and then they come apart and back and forward, back and forward. They're the same person, just the flip side of that one person.
Although, just to pick you up on that, did they have to measure each other's junk with one another?
I was going to get to that. Yeah, he's hanging like a moose.
Yeah, plus I think put this back a couple weeks, didn't they? Because of the Vegas,
Yeah.
I believe they did, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, some really powerful real life issues addressed between gun control, PTSD, and how we treat our veterans when they come back. And and it's just really powerful stuff they interweave. But I do agree they should have cut it off at episode 12, because when I watched episode 13 again today, I was like, really, what was all going on right there? Okay, we had the happy dance in the bathroom with the kids playing Go Fish in the other room. Oh, look, there's Madani, filling out reports. Oh, look, we got Grim Mom, a.k.a. Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio, being all sinister and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to bail you out because of this, yada, yada, yada. We got to try to keep the slate clean, even though we're dirtier than hell.
The scene on the carousel, I thought, was fine in terms of...
Yeah. But yeah, they could have shoehorned all that into another episode.
And then
money.
The bit right at the end where he's taking part in the group to round it off, that was a good way to end it for me. But
those 2 parts.
Yeah,
I thought those 2
parts. The rest of it you could have probably cut.
Yeah, you could have put those 2 parts probably in the 12 in a sense, because remember at the end of the 12 he left or whatever, and he got away. You could have boom.
Then, of course, there's Pete won't go to Thanksgiving dinner. Because he still doesn't want to mess things up for this guy, because as the one guy said, you're a magnet for trouble, basically.
Although just to clarify, back in an earlier episode, poor Curtis getting beat to hell with his own leg. What the hell, man?
Oh yeah, that's messed up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they had a lot of variety in this show. Like we mentioned the one man army. Then there was also the car playing chicken in episode I think it was 4.
Yeah.
When they were, it was just him and the lady. He didn't even know who it was, and she didn't know who it was. And it was like, but they did that high speed chase all around, and finally, and he ends up saving her, because she would have died if he hadn't done it. But she saw who it was, which was really cool. I mean, a lot of stuff, like it's just like everybody says, it should have just been tightened up a little bit.
Yep.
Then we had Clancy Brown slipping in as his character, who he also played in Daredevil. That was a nice little.
Oh, the cop.
Yeah.
No, the colonel.
Right?
The colonel.
Colonel.
Oh, the colonel.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yep.
I have to say this. Remember with Turk, and he got that pink gun?
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Pink gun. Yeah.
Pink
Yeah,
rifle.
Turk was was trying to get some weapons out of a truck, and Castle was there, and the only thing he got was that pink rifle.
I mean, hey, he could still be
It
the
was
Punisher.
custom made for a girl.
Like this.
He could still be the Punisher.
What? One thing I'm going to bring up, that was it a colonel or the lieutenant, the one who was into the S&M with the dominatrix.
Oh, that one.
I would have put a bullet in his head right away if I walked in and found him like that. I'm sorry. Unbelievable, man.
Licking up the stuff on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what a waste of wine. How dare you, bloody well, waste of booze.
Doesn't that just go to show, like what we have the situation in Hollywood and Washington?
Yeah.
I mean, where these people just make so much money and sit up there and get paid all this, and they're just so bored they fall into stupid games like that, and it's just like, really, come on, wasting our dollars.
There you go.
That was nasty. I said, ew.
There's one in every crowd.
And
Yeah, I think there's more than one in that crowd.
obviously, it would be remiss of me not to spare a thought for poor Sam, who got cuffed in the neck, and he was only doing his job. To me, he was the Barbs of this show. Poor Sam. There we go.
Well, that's what Gambagati got into shock when he was dead, because he was the one that was mostly talking to her straight out.
There you go.
I mean, and together they're the one that found that bug in the office.
Yeah,
that boy blew himself up. I mean,
well, that was the soldier with PTSD.
But that's the way these shows go. through all these shows run, these Marvel shows, there's always one character you latch onto, you get attached to, and they end up body dead. Go figure. You know.
Yeah, that was
Obviously-
Stein, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah, Sam
That poor
Stein.
fella, yeah.
Obviously, in Daredevil, you had the reporter guy, and Jessica Jones.
Ben Urich.
Ben Urich, yeah. It seems to be a running theme throughout these Marvel shows. There's always one character they bump off, you know. So.
Well,
No,
I
it's-
like Fisk.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He'd be back in Daredevil season 3.
Yay!
Want to resurrect him?
He's not dead. Kingpin's not dead.
I thought you said Stick.
No. Stick no.
Yeah.
He said Frisky.
No.
Wilson Fisk.
Fisk. Okay, anybody
Kevin, you're
else?
for quiet. Chime in.
Well, then luckily today we found out Jessica Jones coming back in March, so that's going to be a good, eagerly awaiting program to watch.
Mhm.
Because we're gonna have an appearance by David Tennant, whether he's back from the dead or just flashbacks. We're waiting to find out on that. So that, that's a character I can't wait to see him come back from the dead. So
I reckon it's what we reckon it is, and it's post-Kilgrave disorder.
mhm.
Just, yeah.
Okay, anything else on the Punisher before we wrap it up and call it a night?
Yeah, one thing that I noticed during the last episode, at the beginning of the series, we saw where he takes out all those guys and he throws his skull vest into a fire and he's like, I'm done now, I'm clean, I'm
Yeah.
going to go live my life. We didn't see that at the end of this series, though. He didn't destroy his Punisher outfit, so obviously he still thinks in his mind there's a little bit more work left to be done.
Oh, he learned his lesson. You don't want to get rid of that. That got a good equipment, man. He stands out pretty good the way that skull is. I mean, it's different than the way he looks in the comic because that skull right there stands out big time. But he's not gonna be dressed like this. That's a little bit on the ridiculous side.
Yeah, disco boots.
He needs to wear his body armor.
I've just got to point out something in the opening scenes of this series in episode 1 where he's taking out all the Colombians, the cartels, and all the rest of it. But basically, the remainder lot for Daredevil season 2. And he goes through them all in the first 5-10 minutes of episode 1. And you get to this last fella in the Mexican cartel. And obviously, he's got a lady of ill repute on the top balcony of his room. Down she goes, sniper rifle. Well, talk about coming and going.
Nobody comes in to see it at my ass. Yeah. Boom, there his head goes, and he's sitting on that roof all the way across the border. And
There's the money shot. Yeah.
Well, think about it. He could do now. He has a pink gun.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, he could give that to Micro for his daughter.
Oh. After that boy punched her. I'm sorry.
That's another thing. The kids weren't bad in this as well. That can sometimes be a bit iffy, but they were fine. So,
Yeah, I give the credit. This kid stood out. You see how the boy couldn't deal with his dad supposedly being dead, and then of course he had anger issues, including hitting him stealing a skateboard and hitting his sister like that. And then when Frank confronted him, he he wanted to die himself. And then then Frank had to talk to him and throw some football for him to get him out of his mood like that. So that stood out pretty good.
Yeah.
As for the girl was a little bit attached to with Frank like that because he treated her like a normal, not like a little kid. He talked to her straight out. So that pretty stood out like that. Hopefully their dad could talk to them like that, when they're now that he's home again like that.
I'm sorry. If I was the girl, I would have either
You are a
punched him.
girl.
No. If I was her, I would have punched him back. I would have got him. You ain't punch me and get away with it.
Oh, you mean her brother?
I would have gave the boy laxative or something.
Well, maybe she does that when after the credit scene. When we don't see
I'd
that.
have punched him in the face, in the neck. I'd have punched him down there.
Oh.
There you go.
yeah, remember that birthday cake we gave you? Guess what? You're going to be spending the rest of your birthday in the can.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Okay, so real interesting series. Like I said, really, stirring, really, really up there. Some really controversial issues addressed and, punishment dealt out. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll wrap this up. We'll grade it and put it to bed. Okay, let's start at the bottom with Texas. 10 out of 10. How do you rate the Punisher Series 1?
I'd give it a 9. I thought it was very well made, very good. We've already discussed how it could have been better, but yeah, 9.
Okay, let's go to Graham. Out of 10, how do you rate this one?
Solid acting. I'll give this an 8.5. Just a few nitpicks here and there, which we've already discussed, but John Bernthal, bang up job.
Okay, Kevin.
Well, I'm going to give this series a 9. Hope there's coming a season 2, and well, there has been some news that the Netflix shows are going to be on Netflix, so not on the Disney streaming platform.
All right, Lady Neo.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I still have things to nitpick about. I didn't like Madani, but then I liked her. It was weird. But
I liked her a lot, especially when she was naked. All right.
Yeah, she was bad, yeah.
Okay, William.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It was a great season. Could have been a few episodes cut short. I look forward to the sequel of this, but I would love to see who he's gonna face, who the Punisher would face, and whether he would be alone or with somebody to team up with. So I look forward to that.
All right, AJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10. It needed a little bit of a tightening up, but other than that, it was an overall good show.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 as well. For a series, it was pretty good. Sure, there were a few kinks here and there they could have worked out, but still, it told the story and it told it pretty well. Why the hell you're doing that all of a sudden tonight, I don't know. But well. Until next time, everybody, like I said, you're probably not going to see us again until December 26th when we have a sit down, have a talk about Twice Upon a Time. So we're going to have a little Christmas vacation. So take care, everybody. Have a great holiday.
You see.
And hold on.
Happy holidays.